scripture, okay? Just so we're clear.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Now, I know it's a nice little thought bubble to believe that everyone that you loved went to heaven, okay? But like I said, Charlie Kirk has a better chance in Valhalla than in the heaven that he professed to believe in. This now leads us to accountability. This is something I've said time and time again, that the lineage of evil cannot do. They cannot take accountability for their actions. They cannot take accountability for the wickedness. That's why they deflect. We even heard from the Utah governor that he was hoping that it wasn't one of them.
And for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us.
He was hoping that wasn't the case. Do you want to know why? Because they wanted to blame it on a black person. They wanted to blame it on a brown person. They wanted to blame it on a trans person, a gay person, a Muslim person, anybody, but who is accountable? Very interesting. And so she goes on to say, the evildoers.
The evildoers?
Evildoers. First off, boo-boo, your husband wasn't a superhero, okay? This ain't the MCU. I don't know what universe you think you are in. This is Earth 616, okay? There ain't no Avengers going around. There ain't no Justice League. There is no evildoers. Your husband wasn't a superhero of any kind, all right? Matter of fact, he would be considered by millions to be a villain. Damn. Just putting that out there. Secondly, why is there an S at the end of that?
The evildoers?
There was no evildoers, boo-boo. And then she goes on to talk about, well, they will be brought to justice and they yada, yada, yada.
They killed Charlie because he preached.
What? There is no.
Unless it is a they, which we're going to get into an alternative narrative based off of the doers and they that she obviously quoted. We're going to get into some more breakdown on this whole thing, because maybe this wasn't a lone shooter and maybe this was a hit directly from Hamas. Netanyahu paid hit. We're going to get into it. If y'all ready, buckle up, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Do not forget to hit the notification bell. Let's go.
And then she goes on to talk about, well, they will be brought to justice and they yada, yada, yada.
They killed Charlie because he preached.
What? There is no they. We know who did the deed. We know. It was a white boy, okay? 22 years old, Utah, two-parent household. You know what Charlie Kirk said was the root cause of all the problems in the black community? Two-parent household. Good upbringing. Went to college, not poor, right? Came from a very affluent neighborhood, very affluent family upbringing. Yeah. So I don't know who the evildoers are unless you're referring to white males. Oh. Is that what you're referring to, Erica Kirk? Oh, man, I hope you're not doing that. That would be very divisive. So perhaps you should be talking about him. That's what you should be doing. Perhaps you should be focusing your energy on your community. That's what you should be doing. But I know, like I said, the lineage of evil can't do that. They want to deflect. They want to blame everyone else for their wickedness and for the wrongdoings and for the evil that they spread. This, alas, leads us to her in the speech for a chance to actually bring the country together, to speak a message of unity, to speak a message of, hey, we need to stop any form of political violence on both sides, even though it's not really both sides. But just to be diplomatic, that, hey, we all need to come together as Americans and help the country grow. That's not what she did. She did the exact opposite, talking about her cries will be heard like a battle cry.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country.
What do you mean by that?
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Furthermore, once again, trying to cause division and then also trying to recruit people. I couldn't believe it. She was talking about, hey, join TP USA today. You know what? That's what you should do.
if you're in high school or if you're in college, go find your local Turning Point USA chapter, and it will only grow stronger when you join it.
No, God! Like it was a bad commercial. Just, I would say that's pretty tasteless, boo-boo. You trying to recruit employees on top of your husband's death? That, to me, that's low. That's disgusting. I would never do that. But, hey, she's absolutely entitled to do what she wants to do in America, because I believe in free speech. Even though I may not agree with her and her wicked ways and the division that her husband, and it seems that she's going to take up the mantle of evil and wicked and what they're trying to do, I may not agree with it, but I understand we have a freedom of speech, and I will fight for her freedom of speech. But I just find it very, very interesting that there is no accountability taken whatsoever, because in their eyes, they are always the victim. You are always wrong. They will always expect you to show mercy and empathy, when we have on record Charlie Kirk despising empathy, on Charlie Kirk saying that, hey, if someone were to perish from gun violence, then it's worth it so I can have my Second Amendment.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
These are the words of him. And as the scripture says, listen, that doesn't sound like good fruit. That sounds like bad fruit, boo-boo. I don't know what to tell you. I think the country needs to unite. I think the country needs to come together. I think the people like Charlie Kirk, they should probably watch their mouth. They should probably not try and sow division and sow fear-mongering and so wicked and evil into the country, because I believe, what is it called, karma? But
Yeah, karma is a motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? When you talk out the side of your neck, sometimes shit can get bad for you. You talk out the side of it, sometimes you might get hit in it. You feel what I'm saying? Straight up. Sometimes you talk out the side of your neck, you might get hit in your neck. I mean, I know that's crucial, but that's just how life goes. If you said it's okay for a few gun deaths and gun violences so we can keep our Second Amendments, then thank you, Charlie. You said it's okay. You said that it's all right. Now, obviously, after this whole situation, the FBI and other multiple agencies got involved looking for the killer. They picked up 3 different killers, alleged murderers. An old guy was pulled out that was alleged the shooter. Another guy who was stopped was the alleged shooter. And then they had a third guy that the FBI released footage of, I believe, 24 hours later. None of those people turned out to be the shooter, except for the guy that they say, the 22-year-old boy from Utah. So we're going to get into a background about him.
How a young man could be radicalized enough to plan and then commit such a profoundly devastating act. Let's bring in retired FBI Special Agent Robin Dreeke, pardon me. He is also the former chief of the FBI's Counterintelligence Behavior Analysis Program. This is just so difficult to understand, how you could come to hate somebody so much who apparently you've never met, that you're willing to take out a rifle and end their life. Can you shed any light on that for us, Robin?
Yeah, sure. Unfortunately, he fits a pattern, being the killer, a pattern of what we've seen emerging in the last bunch of shootings, the last bunch of years, and that is an arc of violence and insecurities that is being fueled by this new form of online radicalization. You know, years ago when I thought of online radicalization, I thought of ISIS, but now it's these fringe groups that are feeling themselves victimized, that see themselves as victims and wound collectors, as we call them. And what's happening is Charlie Kirk represented everything he wasn't. This is as we saw by, what Paul Moore was describing, this lack of a really clear plan executed really poorly shows his really low thinking here, didn't have a great plan. And he really wasn't locked on to who he actually was, whether it's etchings that are all over the place, his plan was all over the place, his ideology was all over the place. Meanwhile, what Charlie Kirk was very clear on who he was, very clear on his belief systems, and most importantly, he could articulate it, he could argue it, and he embodied what everyone is missing on this thing right now. He was curious. He was curious about people that thought like him. He was curious, most importantly, about people that didn't think like him. And this individual that killed him was never curious, not once. And so that is really the fuel that fired him up to do this heinous thing.
Yeah, we read, and again, you know, the details will come out if there ever is a trial here. But we read that he sat down with one of his relatives, and they both started saying, "Hey, you know, I hate this guy Charlie Kirk, and he's coming to campus, and I don't like what he says." But how do you go from, you know, disliking what somebody says to going through the motions that we all saw happen here? It astounds me.
It astounds people like us because we have rational problem-solving skills that this individual didn't. What always plays out in these situations, I think this is what's going to come out when eventually it does hit trial, if it does, and in the investigation, is there's always an arc of behavior that's constantly escalating, constantly being fueled by this inadequacy, this need to control, this need to constantly think and know in their own mind that they're right and correct. And so every time he encounters someone that challenges him, that makes him feel less than, it keeps fueling that fire. And along that arc, there is always, at least in past cases, a critical moment, a touchstone that sets them over the edge to move from really aggressive behavior, aggressive thoughts and language, right to violence. And so it's never a 0 to 100 to violence. There's an escalation. And so we're going to see that in here somewhere, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure how long you were at the FBI doing sort of behavioral profiling, but have you seen this change? I mean, I just somehow can't imagine that, you know, in the time of the greatest generation, for instance, in the 1940s, that young American males were thinking and acting this way, or were they?
Yeah, I was with the Bureau for 22 years before I retired, all doing behavioral analysis. And what hasn't changed over the course of the history of our species is this need and desire to communicate. And what has really fueled us for all time as a species, which has brought us great successes, is our curiosity. And when we are curious, we have this great ability to innovate. And our communication skills were always very strong for years and years. And then what happened is we have the internet, we have social media. And when social media hit, people started posting their 5-second highlight reels on life, and we get caught up in this cult of comparison, the disease of more, and we start comparing ourselves to people that are really just putting fictions out there, and they're not communicating. So that need for the interpersonal communication in a positive light is missing, and all that curiosity has fled away from so many people. So yeah, over the last 22 years and plus 8 since I retired, there's been a major shift, not from what we need and crave, but from the ability to actually communicate it.
Yeah, and I wasn't suggesting that you were at the FBI in the 40s. I just want to make that clear. I just find it so weird and so sad that we've reached this point. And I've seen so many lies, frankly, about Charlie Kirk on social media from people who apparently just believe everything they hear or read, even if it's not true. Very sad.
It is, and that's what's great about Charlie.
What lie? Go ahead and tell us the lie, old bigot.
On social media from people who
you want to tell us the lie?
Clear.
What lie?
I just find it so weird and so sad that we've reached this point. And I've seen so many lies, frankly, about Charlie Kirk on social media from people who apparently just believe everything they hear or read, even if it's not true. Very sad.
It is. And that's what was great about Charlie, was he always asked the question with that great curiosity.
Yeah, he did. Robin Dreek, it's good to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
That means like
I want to show y'all this other little clip because they think they caught the shoot. But I believe 100% that they didn't, that Tyler James Robinson, in fact, did not kill or shoot Charlie Kirk. So let's get into it.
These are two different people. You can clearly see two different noses and chins. Don't let them fool you like they did with the United Healthcare shooter. Yeah, definitely two different people.
You know, that plane that went viral for leaving Utah at the very exact time that the suspect got away and then disappeared on radar? Well, the owner has come out and gave a statement. This is the plane. He said, Shalane and I join our community. Mind you, this is a very rich guy from Utah, the CEO of the jet company. He says, our state and our nation is mourning the death of Charlie Kirk, and we pray for his family and loved ones during this difficult and tragic time. His death and the way it occurred was both horrifying and senseless. We pray that the extensive efforts by law enforcement to locate Mr. Kirk's attacker will be swift and successful, as often happens. Unfortunately, in the wake of such terrifying and public events, a variety of baseless theories and suspicions around Mr. Kirk's murder immediately took hold on social media, including one that has unfairly impacted our family. To set the record straight, we provide the following fact. Yesterday at approximately 20 p.m. Mountain Time, a private aircraft owned by one of our companies with tail N888KG arrived at the Page, Arizona Airport, PGA, at approximately 1:55 p.m., 12:55 local time. Upon arrival, I, Derek Maxfield, boarded N888KG along with 7 additional passengers, for the return trip to PVU, 2:40 p.m., and arrived at PVU at approximately 3:15 p.m. Mountain Time. Radar services with air traffic control were terminated in mutual agreement between Denver FFA Center and N888KG, approximately 10 miles from landing at PGA, which is consistent with generally accepted standard practice when flying in and out of non-towered airport like PGA. N888KG pilots followed all FFA requirements and protocols, tower directions, and the predetermined flight path. This round trip was made at my request and solely for my purposes. Any suggestion that the flights by N888KG yesterday are in any way connected to the tragic shootings of Mr. Kirk is inaccurate, false, and without any credible basis of any kind. To our knowledge, no one associated with yesterday's flights by N888KG have been contacted by law enforcement for any reason. We ask that the focus remain praying and supporting those who have been deeply impacted by yesterday's event and on the critical efforts of law enforcement to bring Mr. Kirk's murderer to justice.
Hey, y'all, about that Charlie Kirk unaliving, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's fake. I screen recorded it off Instagram the day I saw it happen, right? The day that it happened. And last night I was sitting here looking at the video, just looking at it over and over in the background, while the camera everybody's view seems to drop as soon as he gets hit. And I'm just looking at it, and then I noticed something with his hand. Check this shit out, man. You can't tell me it ain't something wrong with this. Watch this. All right, so you see his ring. It's on his ring finger, right? On his left hand. Watch this. I'm slowing it down. This is me doing it from my phone. Look at this. Look. How does the ring change from his ring finger to his pinky? Look. You know, AI always had a problem with the hands. You can't believe nothing you see nowadays. You can't believe nothing you see nowadays. Wow. Man, this is blowing my mind. Nah, man, nah, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Nah, something ain't right with that. Nah, I refuse, yo. That is crazy. How does your ring change fingers, though? That's impossible, man. So they showing people standing around. They showed a guy with his arms folded, looked like he could have, hit him from without even looking at him. But this right here is not possible at all. Okay, because that sounds crazy that he could hit him without even looking at him like that, right? With his arms folded, with the GUN under his arm, all of that stuff, right? But nobody's ring is gonna change fingers like that. Go back, if you got this video screen recorded, go back and look at your version. I'm telling you, yo, this did not happen. It's been manipulated. Something's going on, man. And why would they do that? What's the point of it? You don't believe anything y'all see on this internet, yo. Peace.
Allegedly, we've caught this guy. All right, this Tyler Robinson. They're still sticking with this was a bolt action 30-06. We also have video of him that has been discovered of him running across the entire top from like the front to back or whatever it is of the Lucie Center from where this is supposed to have happened. And for those that don't understand, not that I'm a weapons expert, but a 30-06 does not break down. I mean, you can pull the bolt, you can clean it, you can pull the wood furniture off of it, yada, yada. But that's not a quick process. So we got video of him running across the building, going off the side of the building. He jumps down, and the only thing he has with him looks like a small backpack. So for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you something. Typical size on a 30-06 is 42 to 44 inches. Here's our 42 inches demo. I'm 5'11" for reference. Where was this at? I mean, you can't put it in your pant because you can't bend. And this piece of shit was hauling ass. If it was in your backpack, it'd be sticking up noticeable. Even if you put it under here, you still couldn't bend your leg. I'm not trying to start some kind of a conspiracy, but this dude did not have a 30-06 on his person when he is hauling ass across the top of the Lucie building, jumping down, and you can see his legs bending and all that. How did the weapon get from there to the woods?
We got to ask yourself. We got to ask ourselves, what do you think? Get into this next video. Let me run it back, y'all. Let me run it back.
Partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, this is what happens when you let good cops be cops. We're going to debunk this bullshit that the FBI caught the shooter. We're going to debunk that. You see, I'm very big on what people say. I'm a former Army interrogator, and I was trained to listen to the words you say because the words you say are very important. So we're going to look at what Kash Patel said, what the governor of Utah said during this press conference, and we're going to debunk some shit, and we're going to analyze some shit. But first, let's listen to some more.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
No, you didn't. No. We're going to debunk this shooter was caught narrative. That's the governor of Utah, by the way. And after I'm finished debunking this he was caught narrative, we're going to look at some really disturbing shit that the governor said. In case you didn't watch this press conference, in case you missed it, there's some gross and alarming things that you need to see.
Let's listen to my boy break down. But I ain't going to lie, his shirt is diabolical. Immigrants make America great again, boy, your ass.
But I'll jump into that into a minute. First, back to the lies.
In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. We got him. This is what happens when good cops be good cops. This is historic progress. Why don't we let the governor tell us what really happened? Because the shooter wasn't caught. Governor, tell us what really happened. Before I get into this full breakdown, please like the video, comment, and subscribe.
On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Oh, so wait a minute. You didn't catch him. He confessed to a family member and they turned him in. You spent the first half of this press conference talking about how good cops are good cops, and we did so much work. Kash Patel at one point went into all the assets they used. We used fixed wing assets. We were flying back and forth across the country. He talked about the vice president being there, the president being there, and all this wasted money, time, and effort. You didn't catch him. He turned himself in. You know what you also didn't do? You didn't mention that he was a cishet white man raised by Republican parents in a red state around guns. You didn't mention that. You didn't mention that he wasn't a left-leaning lunatic. In fact, you provided some uncorroborated evidence in this conference that will allow people to continue to think he is a left-leaning lunatic. You provided some unverified single source information that played into that narrative, didn't you? Listen to what you did say. Let's play what you did say.
Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger.
So this story hasn't been vetted.